And welcome to another episode of Your Next Favorite Movie. I am your host, Josh G. And today I am joined by the director of the new documentary, Valerie. Please welcome Stacey Souther to the show.
Hey, how are you, buddy?
I can't complain. How about yourself?
I'm good. A whole lot better now than I'm here with you.
Oh, there you go. Hey, I like to hear it. So why don't you tell everyone, tell everybody what this documentary is, first off. We'll start with that.
I did a documentary about the actress Valerie Perrine. If you're a movie fan, she was a huge movie star in the 70s, into the 80s. If you ever saw Superman, which I'm sure most of you have, she was Miss Teschmacher, Lex Luthor's girlfriend. She's the one that jumps, her mother lives in Hackensack. She jumps in the water and saves Superman, takes the kryptonite off his neck and kisses him. And she was in a movie called Lenny, about Lenny Bruce with Dustin Hoffman, that Bob Fosse directed. And she was nominated for everything for that movie. She was nominated for an Oscar and she won everything else. She won the BAFTA, she won Cannes, she won basically everything except the Oscar, which she should have won. But yeah, it's about her amazing life. She was a Vegas showgirl. She was literally discovered in Hollywood. I mean, it's a really crazy, interesting documentary. And the second half of it is about, she has Parkinson's disease now. So it's about her battle with Parkinson's. So it's got all the cool Hollywood, Vegas, and all this amazing stuff. And then it goes into kind of like the onset of her Parkinson's till like a couple of years ago.
Okay, so how did you come in contact with Valerie and what made you want to put this doc together?
Valerie and I live in the same neighborhood. We met in 2006. We bumped into each other walking dogs, and it was just a hey, hello. I didn't know who she was. She had big floppy hat on, big sunglasses, kind of her signature look. And I did think, oh, that's a pretty good looking lady. And then what happened was we bumped into each other probably I'd say like a week and a half later. We started chatting and she invited me to go on this secret dog hike that she would take her dog on. And so we kept kind of talking and I was like, oh, what do you do? She goes, I'm an actress. I was like, oh, and she asked me what I did. Sorry, what do you do? And I was like, I'm an actress. And I was like, what about you? She's like, I'm an actress. I was like, okay, that's cool. And we keep talking. And then she had given me her email address. And this will tell you how long ago this was. It was a Hotmail address because that was how I was going to get in touch with her, And kind of at the end of our conversation, I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm really bad with names, because it was her name, her email address. I was like, what's your name again? And she goes, do you know what IMDb is? I'm like, yeah, I'm an actor. Of course I do. She goes, did you ever see the movie Lenny? I was like, well, no, I kind of know what it is. I've never seen it. She literally goes, did you ever see Superman? Yeah, of course. I was Miss Teschmacher. Oh, okay, I know who you are. I gotcha. And a funny side note, I'd say like a year or so before that, I had a really bad cold and I never slow down. I keep going. But it was a Sunday. I thought, you know what, I'm going to chill out at home, just rest and get some rest and feel better. So I was watching movies. I put Superman in, which I'd seen, like everybody else 100 times. I don't know. And as I'm watching it, I thought, I wonder whatever happened to that lady. And she literally lived a half a block away from me.
That's crazy.
And I mean, that's how we met. And then the second part of your question, like, how did I decide to do a film about her, was we just became really good friends after that. The best way to describe our relationship is she's like my mother. We have like that type of relationship. And I've been saying for, quite a while, like this is like 2008 or something, somewhere in there. I kept telling her, somebody should do a documentary about you. Somebody should do a documentary. And this is before documentaries are like they are now. You know, streaming wasn't a thing. It wasn't even invented yet. So documentaries weren't, you know, they were a thing, but they weren't huge like they are now. And then what happened was, because of her Parkinson's, she, it was kind of beginning of her Parkinson's, but she had a bit of a shake, and she was going to have this brain surgery called DBS, deep brain stimulation. It's kind of a complicated, but they go in your head and they put this probe in and run this wire down, and they put a battery pack kind of like kind of near your underarm or something. So when that's on, you know, if it's on the left side, it makes the shaking stop on your right side, and vice versa. Or some people get them on both sides if they're really shaky. Anyway, so that was coming up, and I thought, this is a once in a lifetime thing. It needs to be shot. And I'd fallen into shooting several months before because of David Arquette. Something came up and David was like, Stacey can shoot it. I was like, I don't know. I've never picked a camera up. I don't know. Oh, it's easy. Here, use mine. And I just kind of had a knack for it. So I kind of learned on the fly how to kind of shoot. And I was kind of good at it, I guess. And so I borrowed a camera when she was having the surgery, and that was the start of it. And when you see the documentary, you see like hospital footage that I shot of her, you know, in the pre-surgery, you know, like right before she goes in, and then afterwards, and all that stuff.
All right. So where can everyone find this? Like, where it's widely available at this point, right?
Yeah, the easiest place to find it is if you go to valeriemovie.com. That has links to where it's streaming. It's streaming on Apple TV, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube. It's not on Amazon yet. I know the distribution company's working on that. So it might be on there at some point, but that's where you can stream it now. And then you can also, you can get the DVD, which for people who like to have a physical copy, cinephiles or older people that, you know, don't really get streaming yet. It's available on DVD on, you can order it on Amazon or Walmart.com or Barnes and Noble. When was the last time you saw Barnes and Noble? It's been a minute, right? But
I have a couple near me. I use them for the Criterion half off sales. So
nice. Yeah. So it's available in all those places. And another thing I'll just throw in, you'll see a link on the ValerieMovie.com. There's a GoFundMe set up for her to help with her care because of the Parkinson's. And if anybody wants to donate to that, you can go through there and click on that. Or if you just go to GoFundMe and put Valerie Perrine in, it'll take you to that page too. So, but all that money goes to help her out with the care for her Parkinson's.
Okay, awesome. So should have asked this before I let you give that information. So did you not want to go into directing before this? Like, is this your first foray into directing, or?
I moved to LA to be an actor.
Right.
That's what I originally came for. And that was my focus for several years. And again, I fell into shooting. That was because of David Arquette and Christina Arquette, his wife. And I just kind of had a knack for it. And again, like once the surgery happened for Valerie and I shot that, I decided, let me reach out to all these different people she knows and see if I can get interviews. And, that's how I got, who's in the movie, Jeff Bridges, George Hamilton, Angie Dickinson, Richard Donner, the late, great Richard Donner, Stacy Keach. I'm looking at my list because there's just too many for me to remember. Lonnie Anderson, Howard Hessman, who we just lost. Who else here? Sarah Douglas, for all you Superman fans. Andrea Brooks, if you're a Supergirl fan, because she's the first Miss Teschmacher since Valerie. So if you've ever seen Supergirl, it's her and John Cryer is Lex Luthor. So they're in cahoots on there. But yeah, so I got all those really cool people to do interviews and stuff.
Okay. So, like, what time frame? Like, when was this shot? Like, obviously, it started way back, and then went to like, what was the time frame on this?
From then till it getting released a couple of weeks ago, it was like 8 years. I started shooting the end of January 2014, and again, I didn't have like a time frame per se. I just kind of, because also getting interviews with people when you're dealing with celebrities, you got to do it on their schedule. There are people that were like, oh yeah, I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to do an interview. And you have to talk to their assistant or whoever it is. And it's like, oh, he's out of the country for the next 4 months. Can you call back like when he's back? And then we'll try to set something up. So there were certain people that I just had to, it took a while to nail them down, I guess is the best way to say it. But it worked for this film because you see the progression of the disease. You see her where she's still able to do everything. And then it goes to where she's bedridden. Because there's a section in the film, in the Parkinson's part, where it's basically it's kind of a day in the life is what I like to say. So you see what where she was at that moment, and what a caregiver and people, somebody having to do things that we take for granted for.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because I did, like I said, I wasn't able to actually watch it, but I did watch the trailer. So that just kind of happened that way and wasn't the original intent of the documentary.
Well, I was going to show the Parkinson's because that was all part of her story.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of went with the flow of it. Again, like, I didn't have like a big plan laid out, because I didn't have any certain time. In my mind, I was like, oh, this won't take long. And, it took a little longer. Between me starting and literally when it was really finished, basically when it was done, when the cut was the way it was supposed to be, that was probably it's probably like 2020, like the beginning of 2020. So if you look at it that way, it would have been what, like
6 years?
6 years. Yeah, about 6 years. But, then COVID kind of slowed everything down. And it was, I did a bunch of film festivals, but I only submitted to Academy qualifying film festivals because of what the piece was about and who it was about. And, Valerie was nominated for an Oscar. So I thought, this is this is the best chance for the film. And it did. It was being considered for the Oscars. So that was pretty good for my first movie.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You can't take that away.
Yeah, and actually the film is in the permanent collection of the Academy. So it's forever, it's there. It's there for till the end of time. So that was a surprise. Like after the fact, they sent me an email and like, oh, it's going to be in the permanent collection of the Academy Awards. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, that's definitely a pretty awesome feat there. So congratulations on that then.
Thanks, man.
All right, so we're going to transition. We're going to go back to the year of my birth, 1985, and talk about Back to the Future.
One of the best movies ever. Come on. I know. I can hear the fans now out there. Yes.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm surprised no one had brought this one to me yet after doing this for a little over a year. I thought someone would have brought it. Well, I did have someone who mentioned it and we couldn't ever make it work. So when you said, I was like, well, been long enough. I'm going to let you have it.
Yeah, I might as well have it. Come on. I saw the movie at the theater when it came out, and I must have seen that film because, back then movies they would stay in the theater longer.
Right.
So I remember that movie came out, I believe, in July of '85. And I remember it being on till like November or something in my hometown. And I saw it probably, I probably saw that movie like 10 times over those several months, because also we only had, I think we had two movie theaters, and one had maybe 3 theaters in it, and the other one I think had 5. So we had a decent turnaround of stuff, but it was just such a good movie. So magical.
So for anyone on the off chance they have not seen it, tell everyone what Back to the Future is about.
Oh, Back to the Future. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it immediately. Back to the Future. Let me see if I can do this without making it too long. Back to the Future is about a guy in high school, Michael J. Fox. Everybody knows who he is, hopefully. And he accidentally goes back in time 30 years. So he goes back to 1955. And then he accidentally runs into his parents and kind of messes up their first meeting where they end up falling in love. And it messes up the whole time continuum and all this stuff. So what basically happens is it endangers his chances of ever being born, because his mom kind of falls in love with him, which is really kind of weird. But yeah, it's got great cast in it, and it's a movie that's so well done. It holds up now. You can watch it now and it's still good. And I didn't really give it justice in my my description. You have to really see it, but yeah, it's so good.
All right. So, well, now's your chance. Give it a little justice. Talk about what it is you love it. What keeps you coming back to it as at least one of your top favorites?
There's just something magical about that movie. I every time I've seen it, and I haven't watched it in a while now, so I need to watch it again. But you know how sometimes you're watching a movie and there's that one part where it's that magic. You just feel this thing inside of you when that moment happens. It's like, when Superman, like when when he pulls the car out of the ground, Lois is dead, and he just like does that scream and he starts going around the earth. You just have that, like, there's just something magical about it. But yeah, I think it deals with time travel and changing things, and again, it's just such a well-crafted story. It's like Robert Zemeckis directed it, and he was one of the writers on it. It's just it's just one of those things. It's like a fun, nostalgic movie, and it's magical.
All right, so let's get your thoughts on the sequels.
I didn't really like the sequels.
Neither one of them.
The second one I didn't like, really, because I loved it so much, and I think the movie came out in 85. I think the second one came out in like 89, I think, and then the third one came out like right after that. The second one, I remember seeing it and I was like, wow, that, to me, it just didn't capture what the first one had. The third one was better, I liked it a little more, but they go best in the whole thing. Again, it was okay, but yeah, the first one's it for me. Like, I mean, to me, that could be a standalone film on its own.
Okay, I'll shock you right now, and I have not watched the sequels to this at all.
Oh, see, you know that it's a good movie on its own.
Yeah, I bought the trilogy last year and watched the first one for the first time, honestly.
Did you feel some magic?
Yeah, it was good. It was, for some reason, I always thought Back to the Future, I was like, no, at this point, it's not going to hold up. It's too old. And this is a movie I need to see as a kid. But it was a really good movie. So
yeah, and the special effects work and everything. It's not
right.
Like sometimes you see something, you're like, oh wow, like I can't imagine seeing that at the time, and like thinking, you'll see something that's like top of the newest special effects at the time. You're like, wow. And then you see the same thing years later, and then you're like, oh wow, that looks really kind of not not great because we're so, things are so amazing now,
Right.
But that movie, I think everything pretty much holds up.
It did. I agree. It held up. I gave it a nice high rating, but I felt satisfied and didn't feel the need to go to the sequels.
Yeah.
Although I gotta admit, going back to the West sounds really fun. I just haven't taken the dive to go do it because
Do it, man. Here's what you got to do: just do a late night, like a weekend. Have a little double feature. Order a pizza. Like just like dig in and like I'm just gonna enjoy a couple of movies.
All right, so this kind of works nicely since you weren't a big fan of the sequels. Let's say you had gotten to create your own sequel and you can go back to the 80s with all the cast. What would you have liked to have seen done? Although I'm guessing you probably wouldn't have wanted a sequel because the movie's perfect and I get it, but
Yeah.
that's what I do here.
Yeah. Wow. My own sequel. It's tough because I didn't like the way the sequels turned out. I mean, because then it was, sometimes a movie's so good and then they're like, oh, we have to make some sequels, when they try to capitalize and get the cash for it. But they don't have that same, the same magic, the same heart that the original did. I don't know. I don't know if I'd make a sequel, I mean, to me, again, I feel like it's a one-off thing, but yeah, I can't really think of what I would do because they send them, when the other ones they go into the future and it's like, okay, like what's that like? But it's, I don't know. Like I said, there's so many little things that I don't like about the sequels. It's like, okay, here your kids are in the future. Yeah, they're Michael J. Fox playing his kids. Like that's lame. That's like some kind of lame like like an 80s sitcom thing and those little tricks.
All right, let's go to what could happen, and that's a remake.
A remake. If there was a remake, I thought about this because I knew that was one of your questions, so I had to really think about it. The Marty McFly, the Michael J. Fox part, that was easy. Tom Holland.
Oh, okay.
I could totally see Tom Holland because you've seen him in Spider-Man. Like he can totally he could look like a high school kid still. Like it works. For Doc Brown, I thought of two different people. One would be is it J.K. Simmons? Is that his name? The guy who's in Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's such an amazing actor. He can do anything. But the other guy I was thinking of is because I had to look his name up because I know I was gonna get it wrong. Richard Jenkins.
Okay, I know you're talking about.
Like I think either one of those guys could do a great Doc Brown. They could bring something really interesting to it. The rest of the cast, this is tough. I don't know a lot. I don't really know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
don't know a lot of like young actors.
You cast your main two and get your starting point, and you kind of go from there. I agree with that.
I mean, the only other thing to cast is what car do you use? I mean, that DeLorean was pretty iconic. I mean, the whole DeLorean thing, like that company was going under. Like it was totally failing, and this movie like pumped so much interest into those cars. I mean, now people, those cars wouldn't be as collectible, I don't think, if it wasn't for this movie. That's a lot of times when people saw them for the first time when they were like, kids my age, back then.
Right. And I would think that they would, for the purpose of nostalgia and just it's different. I would think they would just bring that back, honestly.
Yeah, they just have to use the same way. It's like whatever the that last Ghostbusters movie, the one, that's what people wanted to see. They wanted to see what Ecto 1 and they wanted to see the original Ghostbusters or whatever, because that's, again, it's nostalgia. People love that stuff.
All right, man. I think that's going to wrap it up. Tell everyone once again where they can find you, where they can find the doc, all that good stuff online. Go rent it, go buy it, all that good stuff.
All the good stuff is go to valeriemovie.com and all the links to streamers are there and where you can buy the DVD. the GoFundMe for Valerie's there, and I'll go ahead and say, because that's a separate thing, you know, if you do, if anybody does contribute, a thank you from me, from the bottom of my heart, because like I said, every dollar helps her out, and that's really important to me. You can find, she's easy to find if you look on, hold on. Let's see, Twitter, she's the Val Perrine. She always has really she always just puts up old pictures that are in, she's funny, and there's really cool stuff you won't see anywhere else. Instagram, she's Valerie Perrine Official. She's on Facebook, you know, you can just look her name up. Me, you just look my name up on Instagram, I'm more there. So Stacey Souther, it'll be like a cartoon. Oh, I was gonna say I might even have one here. It's like a cartoon of me wearing sunglasses, you know, it's just like a thing, but you'll see it and you're like, oh, that's that guy. So, oh wait, you know what? Do I have some stuff in here? I might not. I used to have all this stuff on the desk here. I won't waste your time looking for it, but anyway, you'll find me.
All right. And as always, you can follow the show at ynfmoviepod on Twitter and Instagram. Easiest thing, go to linktr.ee/ynfmoviepod. Have social media, podcast platforms, YouTube channel, my letterbox, all that stuff. Next week, I think I know what's coming, but it's not recorded yet, so I'm not going to say what it is in case it falls through. So, but I will have something. Until then, you guys take care, and I will talk to you next time.